Hey, welcome, Bublynn. Coming in, crushing this. All right. I'm just waiting a little bit for my first day of work. But in the meantime, let's talk about Gemini Moon, and then let's go to Aries Sun, and straight on forward through it. So anyway, Gemini, right? So this is someone that likes to stir stuff up, but doesn't really pick a side, right? It's almost like innocent. This is almost like, it isn't like the first three of the zodiac signs, right? So I almost do view it as like really, really young in a way. Like the way that I look at air being created is first, it's like the initial spark between fire and water. When there's any sort of connection there, or like fire's deciding to fuck with water again, because like obviously they'd be attracted to each other, being like the two opposites, right? So anyway, right when there's a spark, that's air, right? But the original air is just like, whoa, like it likes to stir stuff up, right? And so, but at the same time, the way that I look at air and earth is that air came from fire, and but it looks up to water, and then earth came from water, but it looks up to fire, right? So that's why earth is like, well, water, and that it sticks with the past, right? Like it keeps itself in the past, right? It doesn't generate new things, but it's unlike water in that it looks up to its father, fire, and that it'll say no. And then we have air, which came from its father in the fact that its nature, stirring things up, is active, but it looks up to its mom in that it's only going to stir stuff up that's related. Like it doesn't like how its dad necessarily brings in all these new crazy things, but it does like how, like, he just fucks with how he's doing new stuff, right? Just maybe not necessarily how crazy that stuff is, So anyway, so if we think about Gemini, it's almost like the air that doesn't even know any better yet. It's almost like Libra is the air that sort of gets lost in the sides, trying to remain balanced, and is like playing on both sides, you know what I mean? And then Aquarius is the air that just knows how it's go. It's like, no, dad, this is who you are. No, mom, this is who you are. And then it just like does its thing, but it's like grounded, you know what I mean? So out of Aquarius air would come Earth, because now we already have a solid flow. But anyway, so how this would play out though is that we'd get Gemini as just being like the original, the most airy, right? Like the least grounded, the least in a flow, the least in a structure, the mutable, the one that's created off of the spark, right? Instead of cardinal, once there's like kind of a direction and it's trying to like gain a sort of balance, Libra, you know what I mean? Because it's fallen in love with the idea of its existence, right, of air. Whereas originally it doesn't even have like, it's not that deep at all. The mutable air is very shallow. So anyway, so this is like basically the purest air, like the spark, like not grounded necessarily in too much, although it is still grounded, like it's still working it's still like working out of a relatable place, like it doesn't fuck with the unrelatableness, you know what I mean? It's still adaptable, and like fire, it's still shapeable, it's still part of the balance. So but anyway, this is like the most airy, this is the most mutable, this is the most crazy, this is the least grounded, right, of the air signs, right? So anyway, that's a little bit about Gemini Moon. So let's get into Gemini Moon, Aries Sun. So Gemini Moon, this would be someone coming from a place where they always want stuff to be changing, right? They don't necessarily want stuff to be chaotic, but they always want to be in a new place with their friends. They always want to be with new friends, you know what I mean? They don't necessarily want to get like too caught up in things to the point where they can't let go, but they do just want to be caught up in things. They want to be airy, you know what I mean? Or they want to be like, maybe not caught up in things, but they want to lift off in things, you know what I mean? Like they still want to feel control. Like fire gets caught up in, water gets lost in, so it's more like lack of control. Whereas earth is like grounded in, it has its control, and then air is also a sort of like grounded, you know what I mean? But it's more like a flying, you know what I mean? But like still like I'm flying, you know what I mean? So Gemini Moon, this would be someone that's coming from a place where like they're just trying to get stuff started, you know what I mean? They're not trying to like get on anybody's nerves, but they're just trying to get stuff started. They're just trying to get stuff moving, stuff like that. And then Aries Sun, this would be someone that's like in the same, but except for like they're coming from a place, or they're acting in a way where this could be unrelatable, right? So it's like this person is not really trying to cause anything unrelatable to happen, but I feel like their sun is going to cause them to go about this in ways that are maybe too extreme, right? Like they're going to be like, well, like I thought if this person saw the other side of it, or like, it's not even like, yeah, it's basically that, like, because Libra would be lost in us side and making a thing happen, a thing happen. Aquarius will be lost in its side, and Gemini would be like lost in both sides, right? Or just like fucking with logic, the fact that it's logic, right? Fucking with sense because it makes sense. So yeah. So that would be Gemini. So this would be, yeah, coming from a place where you're just fucking with sense, right? You're just fucking with air, you're fucking with logic, you're fucking with all of that, right? But not a particular set, not a logic that defends anything in particular, just the fact that you can fuck with it, right? So this would be a very, like, a person that's skilled with words, right? But then again, like, they're acting from an emotional place. So this is someone that's coming from a calm, cool, collected, mainly just like cold and interested place. But then they're acting in a fiery way. Like, they're always trying to find new ways to bring this about, like new ways to be communicable, like new things to learn about, like stuff like this as someone that's always going to find themselves trying to express themselves in a new way, right? And yeah, in like a future way, like fire, future, or like future dry, like it's bringing its thing in. It doesn't really care what anyone else thinks. It doesn't have time to really care, you know what I mean? But yeah, then if we think about a little more about the alignment, right? So one of the things about air and fire that this would have in common, right, is this person will be coming from a place where they want to stir stuff up, and they're acting in a way where they're stirring stuff up, right? So their actions are going to bring in unrelatable things that are going to be hard for them to deal with and might throw them off, right? And that's probably why this will create opportunity. Like, there's a sextile between Aries and Gemini, right? But yeah, so their actions are probably going to create like new opportunities that they're going to have to learn how to deal with and adapt to, right? They don't know how to adapt to yet, so are going to make them uncomfortable. But at the same time, this can really expand them, right? But either way, so that's something, right? Is there's two active components. So this is a very active person. This person wouldn't like to like sit still, you know what I mean? Depending on their ascendant, but still, like, sun and moon, pretty solid, like, combination. So, and then anyway, and then they're coming from a receptive place, so they're willing to like change up where they're coming from, but their actions make it come across as they're not. Like, their actions make it seem like they're gonna do them no matter what, but really it's more like they're caught up in what they're trying to do right now. It's not that they're like putting like their whole like ego into it. It's just what they wanted to do in the moment, you know what I mean? And they got caught up in it, and now they're not willing to let go. So it may come across as maybe you like connect to things deeper than you do, just because you're trying to express them in the moment, but really you're just trying to get that across, you know what I mean? And it comes across as fiery. But anyway, hey, that's Gemini moon, Aries sun. We'll be back in the game when all this is done. Hey, Bublynn, Sitra, beach out.